I hope that before we jump into this, you stop for a second and understand the significance of yesterday. I just want everybody to understand the significance before we get into who said this and this one said that and this one's an idiot. Understand how you were a part of something that nobody has seen before. Everybody tuned in. This is as close to linear programming, appointment time, old fashioned observation entertainment that we've seen forever. And I was telling people in the news business, I said, do you understand what's going on? They say, what are you talking about? The debate. What debate? I said, it was everywhere. Everybody's talking about it. All the foreign folks are talking about it. The foreign exchanges, the foreign platforms. Thank you, darling. All of that. They got it. And I talked to friends about it in the business here, and they said, what are you talking about? I said, what if theoretically there was the largest yard sale, the largest garage sale, the largest hoedown with a bunch of hoes get down or whatever it is. But and what if it was for no other reason? It was quirky, it was kitschy. Would you cover that? And they would, but maybe they don't understand it. We are living in a world that the rest of this stupid mainstream media, they just don't get it. Yesterday was something that it came about organically. And understand this, I was on a variety of shows. I said, because people are still focusing too much on the specifics of a man came forward, a bombast, a stupex, a complete blatteroon, this Billingsgater, this complete and total. He's a buffoon, a chuff, a churl, a bore, this parvenu. Look him up, friends. Look him up. A panjandrum, a self-styled guy who came out of nowhere, who became the latter-day version of, as I'm telling you, Rula Lenska. This is the Rula Lenska. When I was a kid, I told you, Alberto VO5, this woman said, hello, I'm Rula Lenska. We said, who the hell is Rula Lenska? And she said, when I go out, but who are you? That's Pickles. Came out of nowhere. He said, I'm a debater. I'm a master debater. I'm into blood sport debating. You are? Oh, yeah. So whom does he debate? He debates a lot of young girls and OnlyFans, and he absolutely has this Freudian streak. He hates women. He's terrified of women. He despises women. He thought he could go in and somehow, of all the people, Candace Owens, I mean, seriously, you have to kind of ask yourself, first of all, stay in your weight division. It's like somebody challenging, Tyson in his prime. It doesn't make it's hubris, it's nonsense, and he doesn't understand what a joke he was. That's the best part. That's the best, funnier than anything else. It's almost like somebody who's walking around with toilet paper, the bottom of their shoe or something, or you've got people are saying, oh my God, do you think she knows it? No, don't say anything. Do you think he knows it? No, don't say anything. It's absolutely, positively incredible. And it's one of those things that was so fantastic. The way this thing works, I don't even know how to put it into, dare I say, even words. There was the AI stuff that's come about. We've got so much stuff. It shows you what people thought of it. It really does. It shows you what people thought of it and how this thing works. And first, we must talk about the incredible. How about that? How about that great, the moderator, Patrick Bet David? What was that about? He said nothing. Thankfully, he was smart. He says, I'm getting out of the way. I ain't going to do nothing. I'm just going to be basically a potted plant. I'm sitting here. Nobody. I'm just sitting here, no problem. In fact, yesterday, as all of this was happening, somebody was graphing either on one of the betting formulae what people thought about the chances of Tyler being convicted, and it dropped. The chances of it, the more this happened. Now think about this. Candace goes on with Idu, with Babu, this with Pickles, and the chances are dropping. He doesn't understand it. He doesn't get it. She was magnificent and magnificent. And meanwhile, back at TPUSA, these folks are sitting around. They don't even know what hit them either. That's the best part. They don't. Nobody gets it. They don't understand. The donors are thinking, that's it. And by the way, don't think for a moment that you had to, because Candace had asked at first that there would be some acknowledgement, some ratification, some endorsement of this guy as being a part of TPUSA so they can't later on reject him. That ain't going to happen, especially now. But it's too late. It's too late. And you talk about somebody who absolutely positively gave off this look of like he was in a hostage video. All we needed was one of those police lights. I mean, the old detective movies where they would have this lamp. They put this lamp, say, Rocky, what is it? Listen, you screw. One of the biggest poltroons ever. Absolutely, positively a bombast. And there he was, all over, everybody recognizing a buffoon. And now you're going to see people pulling themselves away. And what's important, what your role is right now, this might be fair, but who cares about fairness? You're going to have to say, well, what do you think about the prosecution's case now? And then they will say, wait a minute. This isn't about the prosecution. Oh, yes, it is. This is the prosecution. No, wait a minute. Hold it. That this is a private citizen. This is a guy who paid $300,000 on his own, volunteered, and got his ass handed to him. You can't put this into words. And yesterday I had so much fun with you. Now, a quick run through to get an idea of what's going on. If you think that Candace Owens won the debate, I know it's not a debate, but let's just use what people are saying. If you think that Candace Owens won, press 1. If you think that Pickles won, press 2. That's simple. That's simple. That's simple. Who won? Candace? Press 1. Pickles? Press 2. What do you think? Look at this. Oh, you're just saying that because you're just, well, this is a Candace station, and this is, okay. Oh, there'll be some stragglers here now. Every now and then somebody will come in. Somebody will weigh in. Okay, here he comes. It was overwhelming. This is the most important thing. I can't say it. It is the most fantastic thing. And there are people who are going to come out of the woodwork. I mean, seriously, they're going to come out of the woodwork to do everything in their power. You're going to meet these people, and they're going to do everything, and they're going to say today, it was hands down. Crowder interviewed this Jadrul. That's just fine. You got the debaters, you got the usual. That debate's over with. It's not worth it. This is the part which nobody understands. You do, but they don't. There are 4 rings to this circle. 4. The first one is who done it, who was actually responsible for the murder and the dispatch of Charlie Kirk. That's number 1. Who is responsible? You got it? That's it. Who is responsible? Who done it? Not the trial, but just who in general. That's the first ring. The second was the trial itself. Can they prove beyond a reasonable doubt that uh, Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk? That's the issue, and nobody wants to talk about that. They're saying no, okay, stop it. No, it's so not guilty. It's not even funny. There's no connection. You can't say no. You don't understand the wind. The wind. What the hell are you talking about? Michael, by the way, Michael knows. Michael says, "Hey, PBD was a better choice than Knowles." Candace said she trusted PBD and comfortable with him in her home. Knowles is weak and oh yeah, and likely would look to cater to Pickles due to Knowles' relationship with Candace. Thank you. PBD, whether you like him or not, was smart enough to realize I'm getting out of the way. I'm not moderating anything. He just basically said things like, "Hey, your team would like to put something up." Notice how his team, Candace didn't have any of these teams. His wife was there telling him, "Play this, play that, play this," because remember, she's the brains of the operation. I just said that, didn't I? She's the brains of the operation. That's an insult. But it's absolutely fantastic. Remember the thing he says? Remember he says, the thing is like, well, how do you explain this? And then when he goes, no, don't you understand? It's the wind and the wind. What the hell wind are you talking about? No, it's the wind. You see the wind. The wind? He just says these things. The only thing, let me just say something before we lose our sense of this. The one question, the only thing, and I'm not blaming anybody, I'm saying I would have wanted to have known is very simply this. One question. But first, Donovan says, Pickles won a platform otherwise unattainable. Won a platform otherwise unattainable. Don't know what that means, but thank you. Oh, he had some name. People knew his name. He's done today, though. It was like, you've got to maintain. It's like people I told you who win America's Got Talent. You see what I'm saying? It's one of those things like, It's one of those things that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Let me see. I'm going to read People are coming in left and right saying, "What did you talk to you about this?" So let me do this. We're going to be talking about this. Pardon me. I do my own scheduling. When you're a one-man show in this business, God, I loved yesterday. I just have to say, I had more fun with you. It was from 8:00 in the morning all day. It was. I felt enlivened. If that makes any sense to you, I swear to God, it felt like just this. It was just wonderful. It was just so much fun to be a part of. Really, kind of history because we've never had anything quite like this before. Max says, by the way, Candace went from 6.5 million subscribers to 6.7 million in the past 24 hours. Wonder how many switched sides over from PBD to the Crucible. Well, the Crucible, by the way, listen, PBD, with all due respect, I've got to say, he does what he's got. Good for him. There's plenty of room for this. There's plenty of room for all kinds of shows and all kinds of people and all kinds of stuff. And I recognize this. And it's one of those things where there's nothing I can do. Everybody's entitled to it. It's not my cup of tea. This jerk off he's got work, whatever his name is, see, Patrick is smart enough to realize. By the way, he's a big feller. See him standing next to Candace and Pickles? He's a big feller. But he realizes what he's not. He's not glib. He's good. I mean, he speaks, I think, Persian or Farsi, which is his original language. He's good. He's very, very good. It's just not his thing. He's more of a, like yesterday, did you hear him? I looked at read his thread, his X account for the first time. I really don't really want. I don't follow him really. Not because he's bad. I just there's a lot of stuff out there and not enough time. Anyway, and he was saying like, "Oh, Caroline Levitt, great lady." It's like she's going to Fox. You know that backstory? Don't get me. I'm not gonna get started with that. But nobody knows the backstory. Nobody knows really what happens. They just he just wants to be like the official. Oh, I'm just everybody's friend. Stop being everybody's friend. Colleen says, "Is it really a debate when only one person can ask questions? It was more like an interrogation." Well, see, that was one thing that Candace brought up. Candace acquitted herself perfectly for so many reasons. Now, I realize I'm biased, but if I thought she got it handed to her, I wouldn't be talking about it. You would not be seeing me talking about this today. I'd be talking about other stuff. Just keeping the faith says the most ominous part of the debate was when Candace reminded Andrew that he once supported truth and the internet sleuths. He told the truth for 30 pieces of silver. I prayed for him immediately. May I, dear friend, may I just say this to you? Please don't put too much effort into him as he sold his soul. He's a nobody who sold his soul. Nobody. You know who the other people who sold their soul? I'm not going to go. We've been through this list. All of these folks who all of a sudden who came out and lawyers. I'm not going to go through the list again. You've heard me a million times. Lawyers, I once thought this guy is legit. Actually confused the case, the legal case, missing it completely. Kathy, by the way, Kathy O'Brien says, "Love your show. You have me LOL at work most days. Why do you think Pickles was fixated on the steakhouse receipt? And he paid $300,000 to interview the principal, Christ is King." Yes, I not only do I not understand this, I don't understand how a person comes along. He pays $300,000. There's no way he's got $300K lying around. There's no way his wife said, "Yeah, go ahead. Take our money." They got a lot of kids, they're just regular people. She seems more with it and has more guts than he does. Take $300K of our money. Give it to Candace Owens so you can get abused. She knows the score. She knows this guy's not going to do very well. She's been around this jadrul since day one. So you know that's the official trial. I don't believe a word this guy says. Could it be that basically he was given that money, produced that money, pledged that money, handed that money to create the official story that that's what happened? Could it be TPUSA doing it? I don't know. Could they have been funneling this, directing it to him from some account or some this or part of his, quote, an advance on his speaking? Let me tell you something. With bookkeeping, you can have a ball. No, we didn't give him. I'm just saying, I'm not accusing anybody. I'm saying, but here's how I would do it. You could say through some creative accounting, we've already made an agreement with him somehow to teach us how to debate. I'm not sure if they're going to still be going through with that. So can we possibly review, or will pledge this advance, and then he turns around after the fact and goes on that kind of a, by the way, somebody told me that it's not the usual money pledge, but it was whatever it was called, that it was shut down. I don't know. I'm not following it. So then he goes and he asks for money, like GoFundMe-esque. It's not GoFundMe, but it's whatever the name is. He immediately goes and starts asking for money after he supposedly sends the money. I don't even understand what's going on. So if I'm his business manager, I'm saying, wait a minute. Why are you're paying her? What is she paying you? Nothing. She can buy and sell you between Candace and George together. Why are you handing? Is that your understanding? That's what I thought. It doesn't make any sense to me. So he did it, and he sat there. I don't know if PBD. He probably, you know what? I got my name out there. He's smart. There's a lot of coverage. There's a lot of stuff that's. But what are they going to do with it? Remember this one thing about this. This is important, especially with any kind of internet. You can be hot one day, but if you don't just keep coming back with something new, you're gone. Let me explain to you. I don't know where Theo is. I hope Ian. I think Ian's okay because I'm seeing him. There's a lot of people that all of a sudden, if you just go away, just a couple of days, just a few minutes, all of a sudden it's like, what happened to so and so? Remember when you were a kid? Maybe you do. Remember there was a when you were in a swimming class, they had a buddy system where you held your hand up with some kid, and you want to make sure. And if all of a sudden you're there by yourself, somebody's at the bottom of the pool. Well, that's kind of what happened. It's this weird kind of story. So you have got to maintain a position of constantly being out there. You just can't be there one day and then take off. So anyway, so none of this makes sense. So anyway, Candace is saying, okay, I'll do it. My house, my place, no smoking. Did you see his leg jiggling? Did you see the nervousness? Did you see the countenance? Did you see the look? Did you see the this is AI. This is just to make clear. But did you feel at any point? Remember the story when he was talking about this crazy story? In fact, Steve brought up a good point. Steve says he was married to an African American before he was with Rachel. Okay, that's groovy. I really, honestly, I love when people specify honestly. Do you have to say honestly? Well, I just want to say honestly. I don't really care. Doesn't matter to me. Whatever your thing was, that's groovy. No sweat. Great, but I don't know where this guy even came from. Here's the one. Remember when they said, what about the bullet? That was strange. Rob O'Neill, the ex-Navy SEAL Team 6 sniper, the one who dispatched bin Laden, Joe Rogan. And they brought up something very interesting. They brought up this case. Do you remember this story? Remember this one? Remember this? So much for let's do this again. Watch this. You see the balloons move at all? See the balloons move? I don't see them. You see the balloons move? Try again. You see anything? Nope. And yet they have all of these. So where did this come from? Where does this stuff come from? They just say these things. I told you the one question I would have liked to have asked is very simply this. Were you ever in the military? Were you in the military? What was the branch? What was your MOS? What was your how long were you in it? Because when they asked him, were you ever an Army sniper? Well, I wasn't a sniper. And he was thinking, don't ask me about the Army, because he said, I was in the Army. It was a very short amount of time. Then I wasn't in the Army. So I don't even know where that comes from. I have never said I was in the military service because I was not in the military service. I've never told anybody I was a registered nurse either, because I'm not a registered nurse. It's not anything I want to receive an award for. I just don't believe in not so much stolen valor, but lying. Reagan Marie says, Pickles played whoever paid him to debate Candace Owens. He wasn't prepared because he doesn't care. Love your channel. Thanks for entertaining, explaining the law. The public is uninformed. Former prosecutor here. Oh, by the way, bless your heart. Would not want to try that dog of a case. Oh, absolutely. And nobody understands. Nobody grasps that. Macho Mandy Savage says, Pickle said it at the end. He thinks all women are slow. He thought he would dominate Candace because Candace is smart. Candace is cool, collected. She just stepped aside and let him humiliate himself. Love you. He did do that. He said that they asked him a question about him being retarded. Do you remember this story? Do you remember these pieces? This is a very serious stuff. This guy, as you know, said a long time ago that he had these I think I've got it right here. Do you remember when he said, here we go. It was this one. This is when he said about Erica, whom he hugged. This is from April the 5th. And he says, has nothing to do with Erica Kirk. She's a terrible leader and a femcon like the rest of TPUSA and a moron. The principle here is what I am speaking to. These are his words. Does anybody seem to notice that? Does anybody seem to care about that? Does anybody just read them yourself? I'm not. And then when he was saying, well, you said that he's a moron, he said, well, I think all women are. And that laugh, when he laughs, when he does that smirk, parts of me die. It's this sarcastic gloat. This is the best one ever. When actually you would think somebody would say, now listen, make sure, Pickles, you understand that when you go in, you better sure as hell understand the charges, right? You do know the charges, right? Of course I know the charges. You do know the charges. Watch this laugh. It's a nervous laugh, but it's derisive. It's sniveling.
I'm with closings if you want to do closings.
Well, I also would just, if I may ask a question, which one of the charges against, or all of them, do you think Tyler Robinson is guilty of?
Watch the laugh.
The specific charge?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think is that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, but of the 7 charges that he's being charged.
Yeah. Can we list them real quick? I'll tell you exactly which ones. We'll pull them up.
Well, do you know any of the charges that he's up for right now?
Yeah, of course. But I want to make sure that we have them listed.
Yeah, but like can you name one? Because my general perspective is that you don't actually care about this case. You're not following the case.
That's the question. You're just not following it enough.
It seems pretty, like, if you're going to engage, you're going to say the evidence is overwhelming that Tyler Robinson is guilty. I just think that you should, like, right. Can you tell me one?
Then let's do the counter. You can really, this is a great gotcha.
No. You just got to ask me, play clips out of context, put me in the hot seat. So please just answer the question.
This is fair. Name all 7 since you've been following the case.
Watch it.
Okay, sure. You name one.
Yeah, you named all 7.
I'm happy to do that, but can you name one?
I think he's been charged with murder.
No,
that's actually incorrect.
Okay, great. Now name all 7.
He doesn't even. This is like
name all 7.
And
can you name all 7?
I can.
Then do it.
The first charge is aggravated murder because that's what carries a death sentence in the state of Utah. No,
Next.
that's not. That is literally not murder.
Okay.
The second charge is the felony discharge of a weapon. The next 2 charges are for obstruction of justice.
Okay.
The next 2 charges are for witness tampering, and
what's the specific charges though?
That is them: obstruction of justice, obstruction of justice, witness tampering, witness tampering.
Okay, gotcha. And there's no other specifics to them.
Well, I can tell you why he's being charged.
No, just the charges and then 7.
Yeah, see, the bad thing is when you try to be an a-hole and it doesn't work.
What's the 7th?
The last charge is violence in front of a minor.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
I think your team would like to pull up the 7 charges that he just asked you about. If you guys want to pull that up, just to confirm.
Yes, I think your team would like. Yes, excuse me. Yes, hello. Yes, pardon me. I am Patrick Bet-David. I don't talk like this, but the way I hear him, he does. Your team, Pickles, would like to come in and resuscitate you, and your wife would like to slap the living shit out of you for having agreed to this. Your children are now going to a court and changing their name, and they're moving. And they're not leaving a forwarding address because you have desecrated, and this is what I'm hearing in my ear, they've desecrated, and they have completely lost all faith in you. And right now, the betting platforms are plummeting. Can we have a look of that, please?
Unbelievable. He doesn't know. And Candace is right. He doesn't care.
Aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm, obstruction of justice, which is counts 3 and 4, 5 and 6, tampering with a witness, and count 7
violent
offense. I said offense in the presence of a
First time
minor.
saying this.
I did notice something. I just was curious about.
Change the subject.
I'm just wondering. When you pulled out your phone just before you asked that
Watch
question,
this.
did somebody by chance text you that question?
You can check my phone.
I'm just curious.
You see his face? Do you see his face? Watch this. Watch this. He's a sniveling little rat bastard, this miserable little titmouse. Watch.
Violent
I said
offense.
offense in the
Watch
presence
the
of a
In front of
minor.
a child.
Watch.
I did notice something. I just
Here
was
we go.
curious
Here we go.
about. If I'm just wondering, when you pulled out your phone
See
just
that?
before you asked that question, did somebody by chance text
See
you
that?
that question?
You can check my phone.
I'm just curious.
No, you can absolutely not. I have not had
What a
one communication
dick.
with a single person, not even my producers who are in there this whole time we were here. You want to check my phone? I'm happy to take it.
Let's see
See
it.
if anyone was texted at all during this debate.
You give me permission.
You
so I'm
have
looking
full
at the, I'm not gonna
permission to
give
go
names.
through my phone. I don't need to
So
cheat.
the last one has nothing to do with it. It's just a compliment.
I haven't even read my text messages.
That's
so
a compliment.
He's reading them.
You're okay. You'll give me permission.
Yes.
I'm just going to read 3 of them
Yes.
to 1132 because after that, I don't need to read it.
How do you know they're texts? Could have been Telegram.
I'm looking
could have been
at it.
something
All I
like
have is Signal. You can check that too. I only have Signal. I don't need to I
Okay.
deeply care about this case. I don't need to
I
pretend
get
to
it.
know
If you
stuff that
deeply
I
care
don't
about
know.
the case, I
Yeah.
just, I have my other question is about the steakhouse receipt.
This guy is annoying. Carmen Gedden says it's not a conspiracy theory. What Candace and us are doing is mislabeled. It's called open source intelligence. Oh, absolutely. But it's not a conspiracy theory. But to be fair and thank you, it is a conspiracy theory in essence because what she has said is that Tyler is not acting alone. He's not even involved in it, but he is not this. He's a patsy. Very good point. Not to be overly priggish, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to bring this up. A conspiracy, as you know, again, for the billionth time, is two or more guilty people, normally not police. Some jurisdictions you can't conspire with the cops. But anyway, two or more guilty people who form a confederation or an agreement. Two or more. That group is a conspiracy. Conspiracy, from the Latin word conspirare, to breathe together, to act as a unit. It's almost like in the marital unit, pertua non pomoi, tendency by the entireties. You become this marital unit, not individuals, not joint and several, not tendency in common or joint tendency, but this new thing. That's what a conspiracy is. So what we're saying is that he, and this is really weird too, he is a part, he is an unknown dupe in a conspiracy. There are two or more other people who are involved. There are two or more guilty people who have confederated. This is a conspiracy. It is a conspiracy. Now, who that conspiracy is it Israel, CIA, Mossad, NSA, French Foreign Legion? Who knows? Don't know. Doge. But let us understand something, my friend, as I swear before the lint brush. It is a conspiracy. There are other people involved in this. He doesn't even know that. We're not even sure if he was there. Okay, so anyway, just that word. Well, most people think of conspiracy, they think crazy. Conspiracy and conspiracy theory have gone the way of synonyms for crazy. You're crazy. You're saying something nutty, that aliens did this or what have you. Jason says, every time that Candace Owens was asked, do you have evidence for that? She said, no, but Pickles won, in my opinion. Candace has only toxic sarcasm. That is conniving. I appreciate that. I appreciate what's that. The only problem is simply this. Does anybody have evidence? No. And let me say this again, my friend, please. And I want to say this one more time. Thank you very much. You know who also doesn't have evidence? Listen carefully. The prosecution. The prosecution has to prove this. Candace Owens, I, you, we, all of us, even Tyler Robinson, don't have to prove anything. Is there evidence? Listen to me right now, and I've been saying this since day one. Is there evidence of Tyler Robinson killing, shooting, firing a weapon, pulling a trigger, using some instrument of death, anything. No. They found a rifle that is covered in DNA, so they say. Admittedly, he'll say, that was mine. How it got there, I have no idea, but that's mine. His DNA, Lance's DNA, and I think 4 other people or so, and the level of degradation we'll get to this in a moment, the level of degradation of the DNA that belonged to Tyler was the greatest. So his was there, but we don't know if he held this 5 years ago. In fact, the level of degradation lasts a very, very long time. So what I'm saying is, you're right. Is there evidence? Candace is not going to sit there and say, oh, I have evidence that is Israel. I have this. We have hypotheses. My dear friend, and I'm so glad you brought this up, and thank you for this. Please, I want more. It's your story. It's your story. I'm going to do this again for the millionth time. Please forgive me. 25 years ago, next month was September the 11th. This is the anniversary of September the 11th. When all of us who watch this and still say that this was a controlled demolition, that the collapse pattern, the free fall patterns, the way the buildings collapsed on themselves, unobstructed, unhindered, uninterfered with, we said repeatedly, this is not that of jet fuel. People then came back with, oh yeah, then how did that happen? Like you're saying. You said, well, does Candace have evidence? No, because Candace would say, this isn't my story. This is your story. Why would I have evidence of anything? I'm saying that your theory, what you're advancing, is bullshit. I don't believe it. Back at you. Try again. Same thing with 9/11. I don't have to tell you how the buildings fell down. I don't have to tell you how building 7 at 5:20 p.m. fell after being hit by nothing. I don't have to tell you how people could have kept the secret. I couldn't tell you how anybody decided to pick that day when there were 35 or 25 or I don't know how many actual drills that went on that day. So let me just say this again. Please, I'm repeating myself because I think sometimes the point is missed. This is not our story. I'm not the prosecutor. Candace is not the prosecutor. She's not. She doesn't have to come up with any theory. She might say, this is something that's interesting. This shirt pattern, this whatever, you might want to go there. But I am not buying the story of this 30-06 coming out. Do I make myself clear? Do I make myself clear? He had not only evidence of nothing, he just said to her, nuh-uh. That was his whole thing. Nuh-uh. And she's saying, wait a minute. I've got the storyline. I've got the names. I've got the record. I'm looking at what you advanced. She's not sitting back and just negating this. She's not saying, nah. She's not poo-pooing the idea. That's an excellent point. And again, I thank you. Donovan says, Pickles has been the A segment news block since Candace's acknowledgement his $300,000. Everyone is talking about him now. Maxed his 15 minutes of fame. Listen, of course he should be, because you can't say, today Candace Owens had a debate with who? That guy. No, you're going to mention his name. But you've got to come forward with this. And he's going to be sitting back because, believe me, he is mentally and physically exhausted, spiritually like a sponge that's been squozen, as they say. M. Elliott says, debate is staged incompetence. Government money operation. Debate is staged incompetence. Again, this is not going about who staged it. Government money. The government's paying. I don't know what that means. But thank you very much. Alex writes, Andrew just invested $300 to elevate his social status and gain popularity. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, he gained $300,000 and he has to now seek to recoup it. And remember, he's going to have to maintain this. Do you think he can, once you go and say, okay, Pickles, what do you got? No. Is he going to use that sniz ditch liquor business? Is he going to try that again? I don't think that's going to work. Call me old fashioned. Eddie Frank says not only did she list all the charges, but she listed them in exact order and got them right. And he didn't even know because he's saying, well, give you an example. Last night on WABC, by the way, tonight, 2 to 5 a.m. or tomorrow morning, we were talking about this Luigi Mangione story. And people called up a couple of times. I don't know what this guy's talking about. This guy's crazy. Do you know what he was charged? I don't know, but it's obvious. Because they screwed. I'm not going to go through this point. The point is he didn't know what he was charged with, this one caller. Had no idea why he would be ineligible for the death penalty. Just had no idea. And said one day, I'm going to opine on intricate, and also double jeopardy law and how the state double jeopardy law doesn't comport or comports with federal. Anyway, people just opine. They're just experts on this. And it doesn't work that way. Busy making a example says, why is someone talking about the never seen before text he refused to show? What a joke. And the worst dish of all Fed slop served yet. Thanks for being you, Lionel. What's funny you should say that. Do you mean by any stretch of the imagination, dare I say, this?
With this, okay, great. Remind them that they are there for one person's security only, because I'm somewhat worried the left is trying to kill me.
Now listen,
that was a message sent September 9th.
And you got to wonder, where did you get this from and why do you have that? Now, guess who comes to the rescue? Well, not comes to the rescue, but who refutes and negates that particular proposition?
But he was not messaging people the day before saying,
what?
I'm going to be murdered. They're coming after me. Someone's going to kill me. He didn't say that. And I have his cell phone.
You mean that one? Ain't that funny how that works? By the way, that was a good connection right there. Steve Mason, ladies and gentlemen, says Gerald from Steven Crowder was one of his fact checkers. Stephen Crowder's takes on this debate was insane. I don't know. I know that Crowder had him afterwards. I listen, I want you to know something. Everybody has a right, you don't need me to tell you this, to have a show on X or YouTube, whatever. God bless them. I don't watch a lot of this. I don't watch it. I can tell immediately, do you know what you're talking about or not? You know who was very good about this? Alex Jones. Alex Jones was talking about this. He gets it. Because why? Because Alex has been in court. He knows it. Remember, I have the burden of proof. If I'm the prosecutor, you don't have to prove anything. This is my idea. This is my thought. You could have charged Tyler with everything but aggravated murder. You could have charged him. In fact, they're making a deal. Right now, the prosecutor is saying, what do I do? Make him a deal. Drop the murder. Drop the murder? Yeah, have him plead to the obstruction of what justice? No. Imagine being the juror. You go back right now. You say, all right, let's go to trial. Okay. Just go into the jury room. Now. Okay. Case, count one, aggravated murder. Okay. Let's take a vote. Who wants to vote for anybody? Did the state prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Charlie was killed by Tyler Robinson? Juror number 3, yes. How? What was that? How did he kill him? Don't worry about that. They found the rifle. And the rifle has DNA on it. Yeah, but was the rifle connected to the murder? Like I say, what if they found a bazooka, a flintlock, a musket, an M4, a BAR, a flamethrower covered in Tyler's DNA? Ooh, you would say, does it matter? Well, same thing with this. What does it matter that they found a rifle there? I don't know. M. Max Stack says, via the debate, terms, Candace was there to provide evidence of her claims. She provided no evidence. She provided her opinion. That's it. She was there to make money and nothing more. This became evident with her demanding ads. Well, first, it's a very good point. Number one, it's her show. Number two, she has a commitment. Number three, they came to her. Now, let me say this again. Candace was doing her show, making more money in super chats, awaiting the beginning of just one show. Candace doesn't need the money. 300K is chump change. Do you know how much money she made? Do you know how much money? 6 million plus viewers on just that, plus the sales, plus the endorsements, plus the merch, plus stuff you've never even heard of. 300K? 300K. You think that she did it for the money and that her job was to bring evidence? I say this again. Her job was not to provide evidence. Her job was to show you why she believes there's reasonable doubt, or to show you why there's no evidence of such, or to show you the inconsistencies of the evidence, or to show you that what's been adduced, what has been presented, cannot be proven. Oh, no. You're kind of misstating this. She didn't have to do anything. They came to her. She didn't say, hey, listen, somebody out here, I've got this box of evidence. I want, here, you, what's your name there? Pickles? Yeah, come on. Here, you do it. No. You see how people kind of change this. She went through the evidence of what she wanted. He wanted to talk about other things. He wanted to talk about matters that had nothing to do with it. And he said, what about Israel? And her position was, I don't even want to talk about Israel. I want to talk about the facts of the case. He brought this up. And if he was that interested in this, Pickles would have said, now listen, let's talk about this. What are you presented to provide evidence of today? He didn't do that. He said, I'm going to go there. He went off, and I'm glad you brought this up. He went on that sandwich business, that steakhouse. What the does this have to do with anything? This is irrelevant. This is what we say, what we call a collateral matter. A collateral matter is when you try to impeach, when you try to say, oh, yeah? Well, you said it was a red car. Okay, it was not a red car. So why'd you say it was a red car? Nothing to do with the case. I said it's not whatever. Aha. It's a collateral matter. It's not critical. This guy wasted how much time? So your question should be directed to him. Why don't you ask genius Pickles, why did you waste so much time talking about a receipt, which he says, I've got the receipt. You know how we would say, she's got the receipt. She had the receipt, the literal receipt. Well, how do you know? I talked to the owner. Oh, yeah? How do you know? He was there. What was that? 10 minutes of that nonsense? What's the point of that? Do you see what's happening here? And I understand it. It's difficult for people to understand and to grasp that something this bad actually happened after you were promised from this blowhard, this buffoon, you were promised winning, whatever the hell that means. And I don't know. So I appreciate this, but you see how things are phrased. You wasted her time. M. Elliott Music says, government operation, infiltrate, disseminate, confuse. Again, what is a government operation? I got the confusion part. I wish Candace would have asked him to elaborate on his military experience. Yes, I agree with that. He seemed nervous when she brought it up because he has lied about it. Yes, I agree with you 100%. Joe says, the burden of proof is on the state. Yes, the whole premise of Candace Owens' debate is I have the right to ask questions and come to my own conclusions, and I have more supporting evidence than the courts, or more supporting evidence to refute the evidence that was brought forward. Pickles' whole reason for being there was to convince people to have doubts. No by itself is not convincing. No, that wasn't his reason. I don't even think he had a reason. I think, as somebody said, his idea was to promote this idea that I'm a debater, I'm a master debater, I'm this genius, and this is what I do. One of the funniest, and this is AI completely. It is not mine, mind you. But one of the funniest things, and it goes to show you, believe it or not, how he thinks.
How much?
200.
Okay, define 200.
What?
No, you made a claim. I'm asking you to substantiate the underlying premise.
Are you buying or not?
That's not an answer. You're dodging the question! You lick sniz!
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me show you. Yes, this is follow where forbidden. This video wasn't real. I know they're always worried about, we're just kidding. This is not real. This is precisely what he does. He has this idea, and I don't know where this came from, but he has this notion that if I ask questions in this obnoxious style, maybe it would somehow, I guess, I don't know what the word is, it would somehow be construed by someone as my debating versus, I don't know. I'm trying desperately. How about this? Did we do this one? No, we already did this one. Yeah. I think I've got, do we have a Tater?
You're going to say the evidence is overwhelming
No,
that
it's
Tyler.
not it. I have Tater Tatum. Where is Tater? Hang on a minute. He is Officer Tatum. Tater Tatum is the funniest. Here we go. Is this it? This is the funniest. Watch this. This is a good one.
I want you to start with 2 points.
Okay.
Dust and
Okay, now watch this. First of all, nobody can look more. And I'm sorry. I know this is rule. This is cruel, but I'm going to be cruel. Nobody can look more stupid than this guy. If you brought in actors, if I brought in Ben Kingsley or Daniel Day-Lewis or Edward Norton or anybody and said, I want you to look really stupid, Jim Carrey would have a hard time. Nobody does a better job than this. Nobody. I don't think this man knows where he is. I think when he shows up at the court, they go, oh no. Don't look now. Who is it? Is it Tater? Yes. Tater Tatum? Don't look. Oh shit. And he just kind of insinuates himself, and he did this, and his whole premise was, you got to watch this, was him not just shaking his head and either denying it or refusing to acknowledge it. Watch this. Absolutely. He is a person I watch, without a doubt. One of the funniest, inadvertently funny, one of the funniest Boeotians, bar none. Watch his face.
2 points.
Okay.
Dust and debris in the gun barrel.
Yeah.
Watch.
Secondly, the fact that there were 5 sets of prints, 5+ actually by the end of the testimony.
Now he'll just shake his head. Like, no, you don't know the evidence. He just, I've never seen. Oh, come on. He said, no, she's not making this up. And for people who say, well, she doesn't have any evidence, what the hell do you call this? She's using your evidence. This guy's fantastic. He just said, oh, come on. What?
25 sets of prints for which we already had the woman who worked for the FBI
Oh, no.
forensics
Is he saying, oh, no, because, oh, no, we're sunk, or, oh, no, that's not true? I don't even know.
testify that above 2 prints, if you're taking a sample,
Look at the
it's
face.
no longer a science, right? She testified that
That's not true. What does he know? He has no. He just insinuates himself. He's going to be doing alpha-phoresis next or whatever. I mean, he's just an expert.
that when they took the sample of what was on the trigger, they saw 5+ prints, and among those 5+ prints,
Listen, watch.
Tyler Robinson's was the most
Yes.
degraded.
Yes.
So I would like you to explain how Tyler Robinson's prints
What is it? See what? Well, I gotta calm down. Calm down. All right, I'll calm down. What is he about? That's what happened.
Could be the most degraded, when she said, actually, you could have DNA on something that you've touched. You could have DNA on something that you've never touched. And to get DNA degradation, they've looked at pieces, items 20, 40 years on that don't have degradation. Yet Tyler Robinson's print.
See, that's not true. He's an expert in he's an expert in degradation, but not that. Who is he? Who is, what a country.
Amongst 5+ other prints were the most degraded on that weapon.
Yeah.
He's my favorite. Without a doubt, he is my favorite. He just said, oh, come on. And he talked about, and your mama, when they were talking about your mama and your daddy, and he said, what? This is a guy, let me show you about Tater. He says, assuming that this is the mic, assuming that this is the road mic or whatever, he said, and how can you put a 30-06 round in this? He thought, he said this, that they put a 30-06 inside the road mic as opposed to a directed charge. Or, I mean, you can't make this up. James Tom said, Andrew has locked Candace into evidence-free claims that will make her look unhinged. Tyler is confirmed as a killer, risking her career. Again, I thank you for this. Not even close. They have locked Candace into evidence-free claims that will make her look unhinged if Tyler is confirmed as a killer, risking her career. First, again, maybe, I'm going back. Let me remind everyone. She's not the prosecutor. She doesn't have to have any evidence. If you make the claim that Venusian aliens landed and did this, you don't have to have any kind of evidence. You can attack the notion of Venusian aliens landing. She's going by what was said. Did you read? Did you hear her talk about? And by the way, we probably might have gotten to more of this if Numbnuts himself, Pickles, had not gone into the receipt and Israel. This is a guy, by the way, who fancies himself. He is an avowed anti-Zionist. All right, great. But his first question was, remember when, and don't forget, he read from his phone. I almost gagged, had a conniption, whatever the hell that is, when I saw this. He had a phone. He's reading on a debate from his phone, like the best man does. And to Marlene and Dave, I want to wish you and your... I couldn't believe it. The debater, even she was thinking. So she said, well, let me tell you the debate. Here, can you bring up the charges? What did he bring up? He brought up things other people have said or whatever it was. So again, my friend, she doesn't have to bring any evidence. The evidence she brings up is the evidence advanced or the testimony mentioned in the preliminary hearing. I can't be any clearer than that. But I thank you. Lady Nick says, I can explain it. You can't understand it. Oh, I can't understand it for you. Yes. The line was, she says, I understand it, but I can't understand it for you. One of the greatest ones ever. Dutch Silver says, go Candace, love from the Netherlands. Yes, our dear friend. Phone off Alex says, Pickles won't, I think one rather, the Lint Roller Award, indeed. Social Experiment Gaming said, man, the feds are out today to try and fix that failure of a debate, huh? Well, nor... It's not really the feds per se. I think fed slop, I think that's kind of a generic term for, I don't know who's, I would back off this. Just don't even remind people. Talk about other stuff. Talk about Iran, anything. Let's let people forget this. Remember, the country has the attention span of a gnat. They're good for 3 days. 3 days before they lose all notice of this. The Devil King official says the death penalty is only there for a plea deal. You can't appeal from the grave. I forgive him and nothing else to see here, folks. Well, he is not even, well, you're right about the death penalty. That's there, but oh. Before I forget, I couldn't pull up all these clips. I don't want to spend time just doing clips. Do you remember when Pickles was saying, well, how come the parents aren't standing up or screaming and yelling, and why aren't they making a big deal? If this were my kid and I had evidence, and Candace said, no, first of all, you have to listen to your lawyer, number one. Number two, it's not a very wise thing for you to basically stand up and provide evidence as the case is materializing, for you to stand up and say, here's what I know. It's a preliminary hearing. To which Pickles responded again, no, if this were my kid. And then Candace said, let me try this again. He was trying to suggest that there must be nothing to the claim that this was not a confession or a valid admission, because if he were in charge, he would have said something about it. To which the defense lawyer for his hypothetical child in this would tell him, shut up, get out of here, go away. More people are hurt today by what happened. Don't think for a moment that the prosecution's high-fiving. That turned more people on. Let me explain to you something. If you told me deep down inside, Pickles is working on behalf of Tyler, that's more plausible than him trying to do whatever he tried to do. Donna said, Andrew needs a nicotine patch sponsor, no debate. Yes, indeed. In fact, also, Aerith77 says, are the photos, footage, and text messaging evidence? Yeah, if you can authenticate them. Under the rules of authentication, remember, if you're in court and I bring anything, if I've got a receipt, if I've got a check, if I've got a note, if I've got a love note, if I've got a post-it note, if I've got a text, if I've got anything, any communication. Did you know that a VIN, not a VIN number, but a VIN, which is a document, there have been cases that say you've got to explain, why didn't you bring in the VIN? You can say, because it's on a car. Yeah, but you have a picture of this. Can you explain where the original is? The original is on a car. I can't bring in a car. Or it's on an engine block. Any kind of document, anything, numbers, serial numbers, speed cameras, anything. You have to ask, where's the original? That's the best evidence rule. Then you've got to say, if that somehow survives, then you got to say, okay, you have to authenticate it. Is this a true and accurate depiction of what you said it was? Today, AI is going to destroy all of this. All of this. So if I say to you, this is a picture. This is a picture of a text message. Do you have that phone? Yeah. Can you go back to that message? Yes. Do you have that there? Yes. Can we perhaps maybe, and you can have lab people, can we, for purposes of this, have your cloud password or whatever, so we can go in and we can get this? Does a text message tell you from whom it was sent? If I have a Discord confession and you find out that Lance had access to the Discord account, can you tell who wrote it? Especially when, as Barron said, an hour or so after he was turned himself in, it was Mirandized. when this Discord message pops out of nowhere? See, this is what I just told you. That's not evidence. That's their evidence. Candace wanted to talk about their evidence, but she was sidetracked by this guy talking about a steakhouse and receipts. M. Elliott says the money for the debate came from the government. To confuse, they reached more people through Candace and PB Day. The money came from the government. So the government paid Pickles the money to give to Candace? Is that what you're saying? The government wanted this. The government that theoretically wants this assassination to go by smoothly. The government that wants people to believe that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. That government paid for this? That government, that group. And they're stupid. That makes no sense. Maybe they are. I hate to keep using the word retarded, but maybe. Phone off Alex says, is 3-letter agency of some kind transferred to him? 300,000. Again, why? And it's always important. Why do you think they want to do this? Why would the 3-letter agencies, I'm going to say again, pay him money so that this idiot, why don't they get somebody who's really good, who really knows what they're talking about to argue? Why would you pick this impeachable, vile, foul-mouthed, misogynistic, chain-smoking idiot? What? If we could go into the 3-letter agencies, if we could go into the lobby of or the headquarters at Langley and talk to the CIA, they're going to say, congratulations, that was great. More people now are convinced Tyler Robinson's a patsy. Do you think the 3-letter agencies wanted that? So when people are saying, I think the 3-letter agency sent the money for this, why would they do this? It makes no sense. Social Experiment says Pickles was there to try and con her out of unsaid information. I don't even know what that means. To con her out of. She's not on trial. Tyler's on trial. And you picked the idiot of idiots to try to talk her out of it. Let me try this again. You're forgetting who this guy is. I hate to keep saying this, but none of this makes any sense. True, whatever says, Pickles can be the new ad for smoking kills. Yes, maybe smoking kills the brain. Social Experiment says, I just looked at my 30-06 and 5.56. How do you pick up 5 distinguishing prints on a trigger? Okay. They're his. And there were others as well. Let me try this again, and I appreciate you bringing this up. If this lint brush has 20 actual perfectly good prints from Tyler, and it never, this inconclusive as to whether it shot anything, what good does this do? Forget the prints. They could also say it's his gun. I don't think anybody's even saying it's his gun. You can even ask, is that gun missing? Yep. Is that it? Yeah. Do you think somebody could have gotten a hold of that gun? Yes. That's not the issue. That's not the issue. Let me try it again. That's not the issue. The issue is not the prints. Again, I'm saying if they found a bazooka with prints on it, bazooka didn't fire it either. So I appreciate what you're saying, but that's irrelevant. Thank you, True or True. Thank you for being a new member. Hot Girl Walk says, bet he was promised a cut of a lawsuit elicited. Bet he was promised? Is this Pickles was promised a cut of a lawsuit? Well, first of all, to get a cut of a lawsuit that is so monumentally dangerous. I mean, you can always say I can take the money and whatever. Let me ask you a question. Why would anybody pick this man for anything? Why would anybody who represents trying to convict those who want to convict Tyler Robinson, why would you pick this man? Name one thing he scored. Name one gotcha moment. One moment where we say, wow, that was, he's right about that. Seriously. One thing where Candace said, wow, you know what? You brought up a good point. Ooh, we forgot about that one. None. Remember, this isn't her case. It's their case. She doesn't have to prove anything. Lord Pepsi says, hi, Lionel, long-time listener since the days you played guitar. Remember that? Do you still fiddle with it? I certainly do, and I thank you. Orky, thank you so much for your kindness. There he is, Sparky, the man, the enigma, the mystery. Says, can a defendant be convicted of anything if only 9 of the 12 jurors find them guilty? No. Pickles only being 75 or 80% confident in TR's guilt isn't overwhelmed by anyone's definition of overwhelming. No. Unanimous. Anything short of unanimous is a hung jury. Civil cases, different story. No. Absolutely not. And M. Elliott says, of course, Occam's razor. Where did the money come from? By the way, thank you. That's not Occam's razor. Occam's razor, I did a whole piece on this, is one of the most misunderstood concepts. It doesn't mean the most simple. It means that it's the answer that doesn't involve subsidiary, or I forget how it was phrased. It's not what people think it means. People think it means the simplest answer. That's not it. It's also Hickham's dictum says it can be as complicated as it wants. Sometimes reasons for something are very, very complicated. So what everybody is, and your questions are terrific, and they make us question this. Candace Owens had nothing to do to explain to anybody anything regarding their case. Phone says only charge can be squeezed. Obstruction of justice because is not selling out organization who hired him. Only charge can be squeezed. Obstruction of justice because is not selling out organization who hired him. Again, I don't know what that means, but it's interesting. Orky says TPUSA knows Candace sits on evidence and they don't know what lies to tell. Is that why Pickles was sent to find out what evidence exists of TR at the diner? No. First, Candace would provide evidence to the defense, I would hope, or make it available. She's not the prosecutor. She's not sitting on evidence. She has things she keeps from her audience, videos, and I don't know if that's evidence that would come out anyway. They didn't send this idiot out to shake the bushes, to draw out the evidence, to draw out what she's got. No. It sounds good. I understand it. No. Nay. Stefano Hammond said, Andrew told TPUSA, sold TPUSA on the illusion that he was the one person who could win losing arguments. Plus, they wanted enough material to stitch together propaganda clips. If he did, and somebody spent 5 minutes with him, looked at any of his history and said, this is the guy, the one who argues against OnlyFans girls, who, by the way, destroyed him, including that enemy Charlie, just destroys him. And even PBD was saying, you think she's a trans? She's hot looking. Even he does this. I don't know what you would even want to call this particular way of thinking. So no, I don't. No, This idea that, hey, listen, go out there and draw this out. Quick. What is the one piece of evidence, the one moment where you said, wow, I didn't know that? Touche, Pickles. Touche. Anything? Anything? No, I'm serious. Be honest. Anybody? Did anybody see something where you said, I had no idea? My God, I forgot about that. Or, you know what? He's right. Or, that changes everything. Or, oh my God. Anybody? Anybody? Can you find any reason, any moment, anything that he brought up that seals it? Was there anything that says, no, there was conclusive proof or connection between rounds fired from the Mauser 98 and that which killed Charlie? No. No. Was there anything that cinched for you, removed any doubt that you had regarding the authenticity and reliability of any of the confessions? No. That was it. Was there anything that he did? He kind of threw some stuff about, well, you know, they used a soft lead tip. Or what? Did that do anything? No. Aaron Sandoval says, Steve Crowder hates Candace due to her outing him as an allegedly abusive husband when the wife was pregnant with twins. Stephen is her child and holds a grudge. Could be. Could be. Listen, all I know is that the bottom line is somebody's got to pick a position. That's not the one to be in. That's like a lot of other people taking the position where they're looking at this thing. I'm thinking, are you, again, look, Crowder's one thing. Lawyers are coming out and saying, well, this is a clear cut. I say, what are you talking about? This is so not guilty. They could do it right now. I keep telling people, if you went to a trial now, forget the video, forget the 4K, forget the garage, forget the steak sandwich, or the steak, the panguage rather, forget all that. Forget it. That goes to show you how crazy it is for him to have done something which there's no evidence he did. I don't even want to talk about that. Let me say this again. I don't want the jury to hear anything about, and do you think he drove? No, he didn't drive because he may not have even been there. I'm not going to concede anything. I'm not going to say he was there, how long it took, how come nobody saw him change. You know why nobody saw him change clothes? Because he wasn't there. I'm not even going to bring this up. We don't know anything. And by the way, for the last time, do me a favor. If you love me, would you please stop saying that in some defense memorandum they conceded or alleged that he shot a gun or something? That didn't happen. Senway says he lost the debate when he said he likes to call women stupid. Retard. Well, that wasn't it. That didn't help him. I see what you mean, though. It's a very simple. They asked Candace, do you think he was, because, well, he might have been involved, but I don't even know if he was even there. You think he was involved? I don't know. I've never talked to him. I'm just like you. How do you know he was there? Do you remember the man who was working the construction around, who was there around the area? Somebody from CNN talked to him and he said, the person that I saw had stringy black hair. Do you remember that? Who has stringy black hair? Lance. Not Tyler. Lance. Candace is 100% correct when she talks about the fact that she has reason to believe or reason to suspect that Lance is far more involved in any of this, than you can imagine. But we'll get to that later. My opening statement would be, folks, I'm telling you right now, I don't know anything about any of this stuff. I don't care. I'm telling you that they can't prove how. I sound like a. How can they prove Tyler killed anybody? How can they prove Tyler killed anybody? Truth Seer says Wilson's call for positive evidence was laughable. Yes. Oh, yeah, positive evidence. Yes. What is positive evidence? What does that even mean? Sparky, by the way, the illustrious says, has the overall crisis in competence rampant in the West infected cover-ups and false or otherwise misleading narratives too? Yes. This is the part. And by the way, we need the trolls. Thank you. They're not really the trolls. They're kind of like we need them. Please come forward. Let us talk to you. I'd love to talk to you about this. Remember, as to the case, we could talk about Israel. I don't know. I would have loved if I could have done things different. And by the way, our debating style, I would have been far different. Candace is a very nice, polite woman, courteous, a woman of God, a woman who is a mother, and she comports herself. She doesn't curse. She's, I think she's far more genteel than I would be, because I would have made sure that one thing and one thing only happened, that I would have drawn this guy out. He would have lost his mind. I would have said something to go in to bring out that temper. During the Wayne Williams trial, remember him in Atlanta? Remember the guy who killed all the people, Nathaniel Cater and all that? Remember that name? He strangled these black kids. Remember that? He claimed to be a talent scout. When he was taking the stand, John Douglas, who was the FBI profiler, said, I want you, he's got a very short fuse, and I want you to bring it out. I want you to do everything in your power to bring it out. I want you to draw it out and show the jury what that anger looks like. Show people the anger. See, that's one thing I would have done. Again, it's me, but I'm different. I'm a different person. He would have been different with me. He would not have thought, I'm not a woman. He doesn't, you know what I mean? He's just, but so when Wayne Williams was on the trial, my God, my woozoo, I got to translate. When Wayne Williams was on the stand, they said something. I forget how it was, but they said something, and he lost it, just as Douglas had predicted. And the jury said, holy, look at this guy. That's a killer. And he was very good to maintain. See, I want people to see what he's like. I want to catch him in something. I want to catch him. I would have done things completely different. Again, because it's me. I think Candace did the greatest job ever. She won. But I would have said little things like, can I ask you a question? Yeah. Why are you here? Colleen Kelly says, stipulation, do not get Pickles. Yes. Do not get Pickles angry. Yes. No, I don't think anybody stipulated that. Listen, Candace is not a mean, abrasive person. It's not in her DNA. She's a gentle lady. She's respectful. I'm not. I'm a prick. And I know how to deal with these people. And I've done them my whole life. I've seen them. I've known these people. They find something. They're bullies and they're phonies. And I see him as this. It's like, you ever watch those jeweler shows on YouTube and they look at this and go, is this real? He goes, this isn't real. They put the thing on and they go, this is fake. This isn't a Rolex. And I take the loop. He's 18 karat bullshit. Mr. Elliott says, What is your explanation about the source of 300,000? Who knows? I don't even know. How was it transferred? Who ever told this guy you're going to pay her money for? I don't understand anything. I'm assuming all of this is true. I haven't seen a receipt, nothing. What do I know? So what they say, I don't get it. And then he turns around and asks for money. But I would like to ask Pickles, can I ask you a question? Yeah. Why are you here? Seriously, what is your goal? Just tell me what you're trying to accomplish. See, that's great because it makes it feel like, what, can't you tell? Not really. Are you for the prosecution? Are you trying to establish what is it? Is there anything that you find? Why does this case bother you? What if you were a juror? Let me ask you this, Pickles. If you were a juror right now, and you went back into that jury room, would you say, would you find him guilty of aggravated murder? Yes. Okay. When it came to the part of finding out how, what would you do? What would you say? And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have, because I'm a juror and I've got all the evidence, because you bring all the evidence in there, and I'm going to say, I'm going to slide this in front of you. This is the ATF document that says unsubstantiated, no connection between the rifle and whatever. How do you get around that? Please take all the time you want. By the way, can we stop the clock? There is no clock. That was 4 hours yesterday. That was something. So you would find him guilty. Now, let's assume, do me a favor, hypothetically, assume arguendo, for the sake of argument, assume no rifle was ever found. I'm just saying, let's say there was no rifle found. They looked around and they said, there's no rifle. Would you have found him still guilty? Probably not, right? But there he was, that black kind of a silhouette figure. He was on the roof moving. Would you have found him guilty had there been no rifle found? Would there? Would you have still found him? Well, that's kind of what we have here, because there was no murder weapon found. The murder weapon, the weapon that connects him, the weapon that was shot, the weapon that was fired, evidence. Are you aware of, maybe you know this, any GSR, any gunshot residue, anything did they take? So if you would find somebody not guilty if they didn't find a weapon, right? Am I assuming that? Of course. How could you find somebody guilty? They could pull somebody from the audience and go, yo, come here. Charge him instead. Why? No. I don't know. Because you would say, well, anybody who writes this on a message is the killer. Yeah, even though we don't know how he did it, he wrote this. So nobody's ever wrote something. And then, you ever heard of anybody going to prison because they said, I killed somebody? You know about the corpus delicti. It's not what people think. It's not the body of the crime, but it means in terms of confession law. So do you think for a moment that would happen? Do you really think that? D. Poll Roll says, check out PBD page on the app where you ask Grok and vote there too, please. Check out the PBD page. Okay, I will do that. Thank you. Neopsis says, Pickles' unwillingness to answer made him look like a petulant toddler. Then not providing the new proof he mentioned in his opening chef's kiss. Yeah, again, he didn't provide anything himself. He just sort of said things like, that's not enough. Brasileira says, let's not forget, during his pre-debate Logoria reading and writhing his way through it, he managed to mention Israel within the very first minute. Now perhaps we have the explanation. Well, touche, young lady. That was a concern. Here is the story. And you're right about that. Can we assume that Israel that they're smart people? Can we assume that? Can we assume that Bibi, Mossad, Amman, don't forget their military intelligence, can we assume that they're smart people? I think we can. Okay. Do you think out of all the people, somebody would say, hey, Candace, yeah, there's a guy who used to be a prosecutor. He's with the Southern District of New York. His name is, he wants to debate you. This guy's really good. That's Israel. Why? They send the best. They're not going to send somebody who's sweating and schwitzing all over the place and smoking, and he yells at his wife who interviews OnlyFans. Don't you think so? I'm just saying, don't you think? Don't you think? And if I met with, and if it is Israel, because as I've said, and as Candace said, I don't know. I have people I'm interested in. Say, I don't know. Just like with all the stuff going on with 9/11, I can't tell you who did that. I have no idea. It wasn't the jet fuel, that's for sure. But I don't know who did it. This is not my story. But do you think somebody would pick him? I swear to you, most people said, you know, I knew nothing about that. But that guy is a dick. So I like her. That's all it takes. You sent this idiot. And also, why would Israel decide, if that's the story, and this is, if I had to defend them, I'd say, why would they pick this as the patsy? The patsy should have been off immediately. I still say they could have had no patsy. They could have just had him hit by something. Why do they have to have a sniper? If Butler, Pennsylvania took place, where all of a sudden this shot came, God forbid, and hit the president, God forbid, and we never knew where it came from, if it came from, I don't know, and they, wouldn't that be even scarier? We don't know who did it? Oh my God. As opposed to, here he is, an idiot with a manifesto. Why do we always have to identify the sniper? Why? That is so passé. What's the purpose of that? Ali says, Pickles was a nobody before the debate and still is. And he's an even bigger nobody today. An embarrassment if this, of his intention, whether was to discredit or to ridicule Candace. He failed miserably. Auguri, thank you so much, Lionel. Say fantastico. Thank you so much. Very, very nice. I appreciate that. I don't understand. But see, here's my thing. I always say second guess people. If I had to go back, if somebody said, let's assume it's Israel or CIA or whoever it was, and they give me the job, I'll say, okay, I'll do it. What is it? I'm going to have it as just as, oh, no. We want a production. You want a what? Oh, no, we want a production. You want a production? What the hell does that mean? Oh, no, we want something that's big and theatrical with snipers. And why do you want that? Well, because what? Just let me do it my way. With Epstein, if I handled Epstein would have just disappeared. One day, he's gone. Hey, where'd Epstein go? Who? Epstein. Nobody would even know. Who is he? We don't know who Epstein is. So you're going to kill him and you're going to get him in a federal holding facility? No. Why did you even have to do this? Charlie is not the president. Charlie walked around a lot of places, and there's a lot of chances to get his schedule and where he was and all this stuff. And it could have been boom, 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 so easy. Or we would say, you know what? We don't know. If you want something, okay, we could do a bomb. We can detonate. We can do other kind of stuff. This is ridiculous. Somebody could get hurt. Somebody could get, these fragments, these things. If you were there anywhere near him, God forbid some poor mother was just sitting there and this is this is deadly. It's a sniper. Why did they have to do this? You could have done it a million ways. You could have had a car accident. You could have had a poisoning. You could have had so much stuff. You could have pinned it on somebody in the car. He didn't live in this airtight Secret Service bubble. You could have done this. So what you've done is you've created this what? But as Carla might bring up the fact, and I think it was even funnier, which is even which Candace brought up, why, who was it who told BB, by the way, immediately say, wasn't us. Who? Wasn't us. Why would we think it's you? I don't know, but if you do, don't think it's not us. What was that all about? Does any of this make any sense? So let's just forget the it doesn't make sense. Why would you pick this idiot, this moron, this Boeotian to be brought out of obscurity, put him on this worldwide stage, whose wife is screaming and yelling? Remember, she was yelling at these, your baby mama and all this. What is this? Is your guy? And Candace said, all Candace had to do was say, I don't have to prove anything. I've got questions which you know nothing about. Candace goes through the actual evidence itself, and he just sat there and he has these crazy ideas about, he just locked in. I never understand why that steakhouse stuff, it doesn't make any sense. Look, we're not done with this, but isn't it fun? Isn't this fun? This is a whodunit. It's perfect. Sparky said, by the way, Sparky knows. Sparky says, Wayne Williams was an electronics and ham radio hobbyist. He was a neighborhood whiz kid who would fix your TV. Did the prosecution insinuate he wasn't smart to make him angry? No, it wasn't that. Oh, no, he was. Remember, he was a closeted gay, which one thing, all of them were men. And he was, in fact, the reason why they knew he was black was because the only person who could have come into this neighborhood and not have been seen is somebody who was black. So we don't know. I don't know what I'll research this, but Douglas did talk about this. But thank you. But going back to this, the bottom line is more people right now are siding with Candace. Bottom line, I don't care what anybody. I don't care what anybody said. I don't care about Crowder or whatever. It doesn't matter. Thanks to this Bush League idiot, this moron, this village idiot that they decided to bring, who doesn't know anything about the facts of the case, who kept saying, well, Candace, you don't have to do anything. And she kept saying, idiot, schmuck, I'm not saying, they have to say it. I'm pointing out what they're saying that doesn't make any sense. If they said that Martians, Venusians came from, parallel universes and landed, I don't have to prove anything. I can say, I disbelieve that. Do you not understand how this thing works? Pickles, do you seriously, did you talk to anybody about this? Did you run this by anybody? This is what I would have loved to have said. What is your purpose here? Do you know how this thing works? Do you know presumption of innocence? You know the burden of proof. You understand the prosecutor's role. You understand that, right? You understand the difference between the prosecution and the whodunit. You got that, right? Okay. Do you understand that there are certain things that make it real difficult? For example, if you don't find a body, it makes it very difficult to prosecute. You can do it, but it makes it very difficult. If you don't find a murder weapon, very difficult. If somebody, let's say, is found poisoned, and you say, okay, I know who that was. Why? It was the ex-husband who had that big insurance policy. And you say, well, you know what? The ex-husband's not here. Oh, well, he did it. Excuse me. He wasn't even in town. He was somewhere else. Well, he did it. No, you just can't say, and you can't say, it's Tyler. Why? Well, because he took these bullets and he wrote. Why? And we haven't heard a word from Tyler. Crowder definitely got his $7,000. Oh, Tel Aviv was impressed. Listen, I've got news for you. And I want to say this. If I sat down with BB and I'm going to say, I cannot believe how you are allowing these people. Are you trying to help? First of all, I would say, why do you have two people, Rabbi Shmuley and Ben Shapiro? Not for nothing, but are you kidding me? Seriously. Do you want to, Can you find two more obnoxious people? I'm not even talking about the validity of your claim, whatever your claim is. Social says Pickles used the agreement or the argument that rounds can fly apart mid-flight. Ask AI how Corlock rounds are designed. Gunsmith, LOL. Could be, but we're saying there's no rifle. You could talk about how flamethrowers work. I don't care. There's nothing better than saying I don't care. It's something to do with this. Amanda Miller says there were a few things that came out of this for me. I didn't. One, didn't they say it was not a tangible bullet, a frangible bullet? Someone asked, with the heat and sweat of the gun firing, would that degrade the fingerprint? Interesting, Amanda, and I thank you for that. You know what I would say? I don't care. The rifle with the fingerprint, the rifle that could have fired a frangible bullet, the rifle that may have had DNA, isn't conclusively connected to anything. I don't care. Want to talk about a Manicure Carcano? Want to talk about the gun that Lee Harvey Oswald supposedly used as well? M. Elliott says, argument about the parents' silence did resonate. Argument about the parents' silence did resonate. If it did, they don't understand how. You mean to tell me that the parents who did not come out and say, wait a minute, this story about what was told to us is not true, you're saying that they should have said something before a preliminary hearing? Before a preliminary hearing, before he's even been charged, before anything happens before a judge, and the judge is going to find probable cause for sure. If I were that defense lawyer and I told those parents, if I hear you saying anything, whispering anything about this, I don't want to hear from you. I don't want you to be even a part of this. I don't want them to look at you, think of you, consider you, find out where you live, ask your story. I want you to lay low. You are not a part of this. You are not a part of this. I don't want your relatives, family members, friends, people he worked with. I don't want to hear from the gay community. I don't want to hear from anybody. Are you kidding me? That resonated? Are you kidding? Before a trial? You're gonna let the family members say, and they didn't, and to look perhaps maybe staged, maybe these are the worst speakers ever. You're gonna risk that? No way. Jay says her evidence for the possibility of her claims to be true fact are the holes in the official narrative that are filled by Candace with the information she has found out through crowd personal sources. Let's try this again. Her evidence for the possibility of her claims to be true and a fact are the holes in the official narrative that are filled by Candace with the information she has found out through crowd personal sources. I don't know what that means. I'm not really sure. Candace, by the way, is not working, by the way, I keep saying by the way, so much on the trial case as she is in the whodunit narrative. As I've said to you before, and I'm going to say it again, do you know what was the most important thing that ever happened in putting real doubt, real serious doubt in the JFK case? And it was the movie JFK, the Oliver Stone movie. That's what did it. That's what did it. Not the Zapruder film, not the Warren report. That was it. If somehow, and I have no information of this, but if people were to put together a really well-defined, well-produced, slick documentary now, I'm not saying this, You want to talk about perhaps tainting juries? That would do more than anything. Because the bottom line is simply this. The probable cause hearing was a given. Remember, the probable cause definition or the burden is he probably did it. Okay. This was absolutely positively had nothing to do with putting on a case. This is not a trial. I'm going to leave you with this. The gun doesn't match. The gun can't be proved. We don't know how he killed him. Tyler was, I don't care about DNA. It's the rifle. If that rifle had been shot, if the ballistics had matched, then we're on to something. Then we're on to something. And you are incredible. My friends, two things. Let me thank you. Actually, a number of things. Like this video. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. This is so terrific. Oh, Priscilla, by the way, Priscilla says, if Parent's story is true, Candace could have flipped question on Andrew and asked why the prosecution hasn't used the parents to give testimony. Well, could, yeah. Be honest with you, though, the problem is, for purposes of the probable cause hearing, remember, anything you put on now, and if it goes south, let's say he puts on the evidence or the parents, and they say the wrong thing, or they say something that affects, let's say, or helps the defense, you're stuck with that. You've got them saying this under oath in front of a court. So they should not even have this. I'm telling you, I know nobody wants to, it's kind of dull to say this, but the prosecution should have had a grand jury impaneled in the first place. Not this. This is not the way to do this. This makes no sense. You want to have a grand jury because a grand jury would have determined probable cause in order to return a true bill or to return an indictment. But they didn't do this. So they would have put on just enough evidence which allows them to proceed and then sit back and have some breathing room. You don't want to put on people who can change their testimony later on, who can get cold feet, who can do a terrible job. You don't want to have all those witnesses so far. The prosecution, they've got to deal with these people. The woman who talks about the ATF report, the woman who talks about degradation, the guy who says, yeah, we found a fragment over here. You found a what? Yeah, we found a screwdriver, but you need an Allen wrench. You don't need a screwdriver. All those things that everybody thinks is so terrific, that's going to haunt you later on. Prosecution sitting back and just saying, we're going to write this down. Sword of the Lord says, we are so grateful for you, Lionel. Best to you. Sword of the Lord, thank you very, very kindly. Remember, these questions you ask are terrific. And I hope throughout this that maybe we can kind of show you how this thing sort of works, because it's a fascinating case. Remember, they want to put on the prosecution as little as possible. They don't want to put anybody on. Just be done with this so we can go back, work on our case, and not have somebody's testimony locked in that you can use later on to impeach and say, remember during the preliminary hearing, remember when you said under oath, were you lying then or are you lying now? Well, you changed your mind. Well, I didn't change my mind. Yes, you did. Why do we put them on the stand? Because they're the parents. I know parents don't normally help the prosecution. They come across scared. They look scared. They look like they're being bullied. It can backfire. What are you talking about? See, trials are theater plus legal stuff. It's real theater where people cry and you feel sorry for them. And you risk it. Every time somebody takes a stand, you risk it. You got to ask them a very simple question. Those prosecutors were asking questions that went far beyond anything. In any event, please follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. I'm asking you a question. Follow her at Lynn's Warriors. She was on my show last night on WABC, which are on weekends, 2 to 5 a.m. And she was superb, because what's going on right now regarding children and predation is you can't believe. This is her link. Go to this link right now, click and sign up and be a subscriber. And thank you. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the success. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to you. And look at this. Just Say says, hi, Granddad. I'm curious to know what the contract states for Candace Owens related to the debate. It appeared as she wasn't as free to speak, in my opinion. I don't know. I would venture to say nothing was off limits, that they were told what you can't say. I don't think she would be a part of it. I think she was probably trying, if anything else, to try to maintain a certain degree of decorum and maybe let him hang himself. On says, my perception was that he just started learning about this case. Yes, he was a student and Candace Owens the teacher. Looked like Pickles thought he could win with debate tactics and little knowledge of the case. Yes, or that somehow his presence was so immane, so huge that alone should have done it. Wanda Schmidt says, I'm late today. Has anyone mentioned Candace telling Andrew she didn't want to get into a legal pickle? Yes. Touche. Yes. He will always, 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 always be known for this, no matter what he does. Pickles will be his name. Absolutely. And by the way, Jadrul, as I refer to him, is a kind of an Americanization of chidrulo, which is cucumber. And a pickle is a kind of a pickled cucumber. So there you go. Like a gherkin, so to speak. You understand that? All right, my friend. Thank you so much. Do you want to pick it up again tonight? You let me know. I think we're not done with this yet. So I've got some things to do. Make sure you are subscribed. Just let me know when we're up and ready. You'll be the first to know. Thank you. And I got to tell you something. This is absolutely the most fascinating case. And the interaction and your focus is something that is just so impressive. So I thank you. I wish you a beautiful Saturday. It's gorgeous here. It's nice 81 degrees in New York City. Mrs. L and I are going to tool about, perambulate, locomote, and peregrinate, pick up some corn and maters, and we'll see you most probably this evening. So stay tuned. And until then, remember, my friends, monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. That.